First of all, there's been a lot of talk during the break about potential investment from Jim Ratcliffe. Are you aware of anything? Have you been told anything about what is happening?
No. So I'm not involved in this, and others in the clubs are dealing with this. I'm focusing on my team. I'm focusing on the coming block, and I'm focusing on most important, most priority next game. It's all about that.
Someone who presumably is not going to be involved is Jadon Sancho. There's a lot of talk about him as well. Is there any change to his situation as far as you're concerned?
I have everything said about it.
You went into the international break on the back of a pretty memorable ending to a game that looked as though it wasn't going to turn out very well. Can you use that last couple of minutes against Brentford to almost restart your season?
You can't restart, but what you can do is, what you see is there is a strong dressing room, and they are aligned, they are on one page, and they are so determined and willing to win games. And that is what we have seen in the last couple of minutes, and we invest a lot in that game, and in the end we beat them because opponent they were beaten, they were physical, we were very strong, and we kept going, so mentally we were very strong, and of course that gives spirit.
Erik, there's been a lot of criticism and noise around Andre Onana and his performances. You know what a strong personality he is. I just want to know, how's he been dealing with everything that's been happening, and how are you helping him through it?
No, he knows, we know he will do much better, and as every player who's coming into the Premier League, you need integration period. But he has to step up. But so also big United keepers like Peter Schmeichel, like David de Gea, also they started also not too good. And I think for Andre is that good to know. But so a little bit from the history. But we live now. We live in the future, and he have to make his future. By giving better performances, and he will do, I'm sure. He already showed that so many times in big clubs like Barcelona. When he was young, Ajax, Inter Milan. He was in semi-final Champions League. He was in the final Champions League. He is a great player, and I'm sure he will give us performance. And I'm sure we will have a lot of joy of him.
Harry Maguire is still the subject of boos and abuse. As a manager, how hard is that for you to take?
I haven't heard it. Not in England, not last game in us. I think everyone, as all the fans, were supportive for us in the game against Brentford and also the games before. I think we have a strong boundary with our fans, and so I don't think Harry is booed. And he doesn't also deserve it because his performance against Brentford was very good, and also I think for England was in particular was a very good performance. Yeah.
Erik, Sheffield United may sit bottom of the Premier League table, but does a side who are so desperate for 3 points, does that make them even more dangerous tomorrow?
Every game the Premier League is difficult, and you have seen, if you see their results like against City, against Spurs, there were very narrow wins from both. So if you don't play your best football, you can have a problem. So it's up to us.
United are currently 4th from bottom in the league when it comes to your away record. Is there anything that you can put that down to specifically, or how do you go about rectifying that?
We won our last game away. So finally it's not about that. You can't figure out to the past. So I can also say we were last year 3rd in the league. We won a cup. We were in another final, but that was the past. We live in the future, so we have to change the future, and we have to take control of the future.
Hi, Erik. In terms of Victor Lindelof, I just wondered how he was after the situation he experienced early in the week, and is he okay to be involved this weekend?
A terrible situation, and I feel really sad for the victims, for all the relatives, family, friends from the victims there in Brussels. Yeah, it's crazy world, but of course, Victor, they had a problem. It's a bad experience. As Swedish national team, he was the captain, so also he had to stay in front and give statements, but he dealt well with it. And of course, he's exhausted after this experience because also they didn't sleep overnight, return. But yesterday he was back in training. He dealt with the situation. Our thoughts, once again, were with Victor, and Victor, we were with the victims' relatives and the victims, but we're looking forward to the game, and Victor has energy and is ready to play this game.
Last question in section, yeah.
Hi, Erik. So Bruno Fernandes has once again shown for Portugal during the European qualifiers, which has revitalized the discussion about him being a little bit lost at United lately. As many seen him being one of the best number 10 around, but has often been played on the right wing in the last few games. Would it be an option for you to swap the position of him and probably Mason Mount? Like push Mason Mount to the right and keep Bruno in the middle?
So I think as a squad, in periods in the season you have to deal with certain situations like injuries, and we didn't have a left fullback, or we didn't have a right wing in the last couple of games. Then you have to find solutions, and Bruno is a very good right winger as well. But of course he is playing that position in his way, and he has his freedom there. He's there playing. They're not typical as a right winger, but more coming inside and playing in the 10 role. So coming in situations where he can give key passes, final passes, score a goal. And that is always, you want to use a player like Bruno Fernandes, because we know that he's a player, probably creates one of the most chances in all the games, international. And I think in the stats, he is one of the player who creates the most chances in the Premier League. So you always want to bring him in a position where he's at his best, because it will contribute to the team result